asking, you shall receive. So we'll just dive right in. So remember the last story I told you that my auntie's house burned down when I was 11. We're gonna start there. So nobody was home. Everybody was out of town. It was Christmas break. Actually, it was New Year's Day that it happened. So nobody was in the house. Everybody was gone for Christmas break, whatever. So we ended up getting put up in a hotel down at the Grand Dam, below the dam. I don't remember what it's called. It's the one right across from the casino. Anyway, so rightfully so, my auntie was stressed the fuck out. And there was me and the girls. This is I know. Iona was a thing, but she was like a baby, so she wasn't there. It was just me and the older girls. And then my grandma and my auntie. And like this auntie was not any of our moms. Like she was just all of our auntie. But kind of sort of relevant. Anyway, so we were all in a suite. So me and the girls were on one side in our own bedroom, and then my grandma and my auntie were on the other side in their own bedroom. And my auntie was stressed the fuck out, rightfully so. She just lost everything. So me and the girls were like roughhousing, making fun of Wheezy, doing whatever. And so at one point Wheezy's like, screw this, I'm going outside. And then she didn't realize that the fucking screen was across the door, and she bounced off that bitch. And we started laughing so hard. And then my auntie got pissed immediately. She was like, shut the fuck up, I'm going to bed. We're like, okay, so we did. Prior to this, I didn't really abide by the superstition to keep your windows covered at night. It's more so you don't want to look out and see something looking back at you, or you don't want something looking at you at night, you know? And so I didn't really abide by that, and neither did my sisters at the time. And so we left the slider open. Like we left, and I don't remember if the door was open. I think the door was open, but the screen was on. But we left like the blinds completely open, and that's where we were on. Anywho, so sometime in the middle of the night, I wake up, and I'm laying there, and it was like Dorina had her own bed, and then me and Weezy were in our own bed. And I remember I was laying there, and I was just kind of like looking, and I just like let my gaze like roll over like the rooftops. And I saw, like I ended up doing a double take because I thought I saw like it was a chimney. I thought it was a chimney, and it was a really cool view of the dam. So I'm like looking at that, and then I'm looking, and I'm like, is that a fucking person? My millennial babies. The thing I thought of was that moment in the movie Signs where the dude's standing on the fucking barn or whatever it is. That's what it reminded me of, because they were standing like stick straight, and I was like, huh. And then I looked closer, and it was my fucking auntie. Like, it wasn't her, but it was her, like, dead ass, face, everything. And I'm like, what the fuck? And this was like a steep fucking roof. Like, there's no way anyone can stand on it. And so I'm staring at this thing, and it sees me see it, and it's, I'm about to fucking cry. It started smiling. Like, the creepiest fucking smile I've ever seen in my life. And I have not seen that smile until I watched that fucking movie, Smile. And, like, the only thing that got me through that was at a certain point, shit got real cheesy, and I knew it was fake. But I've seen that shit in person. Anyway, so I fucking slammed the door shut, ripped the blinds closed, went back to bed, and just got under the blankets and like cuddled up to Weezy, and I was just like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. And I was like, yeah, if you can't see it, it's not there. Like, I freaked the fuck out. And then the whole next day I was looking at my auntie crazy, and she was just looking at me like, what? And I never told her. I didn't tell her until like, it was like 10 years ago. I finally did. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, dude. And the plot thickens because when I told her, my cousin Heather, she is like the OG spooky weirdo in the family. Like, she used to be out there, like, at her mom's house by her fucking self in the middle of nowhere. Like, she's seen all sorts of shit. Like, she's seen like stick Indians bouncing on her bed. She's seen like this old guy used to come out of her closet and just hang out in her room. Like, she has stories for fucking years. Anyway, she was telling me that the same thing happened to her son. I think a couple of them. One time, her son, her second oldest, was sleeping, just dead sleep. And he said she came into his room, shaking him awake, and she was like, you have to get up, you have to get up, you have to get up right now. And then he was like, okay. And so he gets up, and he comes out of his room, and literally everybody in the house was sleeping. Like, everybody, including his mom. And he even asked, like, the next day, he asked his stepdad, and he's like, did she get up at all? And he was like, no. And so that was one. And then her baby said one time, he was like really little at this point, because this was before they moved from Olympia. He said he saw one of his older brothers walking into his room, or walking into one of their rooms, and he said he turned and looked at him and smiled that fucking smile, and then went in the room, and he was like, that's not my brother. And she said my mom even had a situation where she came out of her room. This is at the house I just sold. And she came out of her room, and like there was kids galore always. But anyway, so she came out. She was walking towards the front door, and there was someone in front of her. And she said they got to like the front step, like in front of the front door, and they just fucking disappeared. And my mom was like, "What the fuck?" So yeah, I have more, but this is the scariest one that top two. This is number one. I have one more that's almost as scary as this, but whew, let me know if you'd like to know why I can't sleep in a silent house.